Hi, everyone. My name is Catrice Williams, and today I'm presenting a goal setting intervention design for an organizational workplace. My interest in this comes from two real parts of my life. First, I was a Division One basketball player. I grew up in North Minneapolis, and I played at Minneapolis North High School, where during my time there, we won three state championships. We were a very successful team. We had a really long state tournament run, and I ultimately ended up earning a full athletic scholarship to Arkansas State University. So I know what it feels like to have big goals, a plan to accomplish them, and when you have clear expectations and structure to achieve them. But I also know on the other side of it how, having the lack of that can hinder your success. Second, in my career today, I'm a real estate professional. I work in not only as a realtor, but I work in nonprofit and the realm of real estate community development. I also do a little policy and advocacy work. And in this work, I see how much adults need that same structure. Most of us are juggling enormous responsibilities and we want to perform at a high level, but we're stretched thin, overwhelmed, and oftentimes unsure what to prioritize. So, and just like in sport, when structure is missing, the performance suffers. Goal setting gives us that structure back. That's why sport and exercise psychology is so relevant outside of athletics. Because mental skills help athletes win the mental skills that help athletes win championships are the same skills that help professionals stay motivated, show up consistently, and execute big goals. So let's talk about like why this intervention matters. In my experience, leading teams in like the nonprofit space and at my time as a retail banking manager, the biggest barrier I see is not like a lack of passion or effort, it's a lack of clarity. I struggle with this in my own role, in my current role, and I see how it can affect performance when the expectations or the path to success are not clear. People often come into work with good intentions but no real plan, or the plan is unclear, unrealistic, or constantly shifting. And this leads to frustration, burnout, missed deadlines, inconsistent follow through, and employees doubting themselves, which can ultimately lead to like high rates of turnover and like a lack of productivity. I've seen brilliant people underperform simply because they never learned how to break big goals into daily habits. And honestly, I've lived this myself. As someone who balances motherhood, school, leadership in my work, and um, and in my life as I am breaking into real estate development, I rely heavily on goal setting just to stay grounded. Sports psychology research is clear. When people set structured, meaningful goals, performance improves. And that's from our text, Sport and Exercise Psychology by Weinberg and Gould. And so the intervention I designed, the performance goal setting system, or PGSS, is rooted in research and my lived experience. So let's talk a little bit about the PGSS model. It's a 12-week goal setting intervention with a few stages, and we'll just walk through those stages today. All right. So the first stage is assessment and orientation. We start by helping employees understand themselves. They will complete a few things, those being a readiness questionnaire, a values assessment, and a self-efficacy scale. This matters tremendously. When I played D1 basketball, our coaches never trained us without knowing our strengths, weaknesses, and mindset first. That's why I really enjoy like distribute. I really think that I really enjoy distributing like um, the Strengths Finder assessment, and also doing a a core values exercise that I learned from an executive coach that I worked with a long time ago. Implementing those into this process would be integral. If a player ever lacked confidence back then, you coach them differently than someone who struggled with discipline or time management. Or if a player, had an injury, you coach them different, than a player that was healthy. The same is true in the workplace. You cannot set goals without self awareness. So the second stage is to set Smart Plus goals, and we'll do that with a Smart Plus workshop. Here, we'll teach the extended Smart Plus model, and that's setting goals that are specific, measurable, action oriented, realistic, time sensitive, um, evaluated weekly, and revised as needed. So that's the SMARTER acronym. And this is how athletes train. For example, when I was at A State, we never said we want to win. We said things like hold the opponent to under 58 points, or um, no arrows in the back, which means no uncontested layups, or finish every possession with a purpose, or play to the whistle or the buzzer. Um, and that level of clarity creates momentum. In the workplace, we create that same structure. Participants create an outcome goal, a performance goal, and a set of process goals. And I encourage employees to write goals that actually feel personal. Research tells us that self-determined goals are far more motivating than, goals that someone else sets for you. And that again is from our text by Weinberg and Gold. The third stage is implementation and accountability. Now, this stage lasts the longest. It's about 6 weeks long. So from week 4 to 10 of the process, because this is where we build habits. Um, and employees receive weekly coaching check-ins. You get an accountability partner, and we use goal setting tools like a tracking sheet or an app, and implement we implement group sessions focused on confidence and overcoming setbacks. So let me share a real quick life example. When I was playing basketball, we had a drill called perfect possession. 10 passes, no turnovers, no sloppy movement, and stellar communication. Now, the first few times we failed a lot, but over time, the repetition built discipline. That same mindset is what professionals need. When employees break goals down into small, repeatable habits, they start expecting small wins, and those small wins build confidence. Self-monitoring has been shown repeatedly in research to improve adherence and performance, according to Burton and Weiss. Accountability matters at every single level. And the final stage is entitled evaluation and reflection. So in weeks 11 and 12, employees will complete a post-program self-efficacy assessment, a progress review. They'll do a reflection journal and a meeting with their supervisor. Growth requires feedback. Athletes watch film, developers review site plans, policymakers evaluate community impact, and professionals need that same rhythm. This final stage helps employees revise goals for the next time period, whether it's a quarter or a month, whatever whatever feedback cycle is set with their supervisor, and so that growth continues beyond the program. And that is how the program will go. Now, um, no intervention is perfect, and so I want to talk about a few limitations and adaptations. Some employees may want more privacy, prefer digital tools, or have unpredictable workloads. Some may resist structure at first. Um, so sometimes we'll need to loosen up the model, but this intervention works best with mission-driven organizations, development teams, policy teams, real estate teams, and project management groups, or any type of department that thrives um, where people have clarity. It can also be adapted for young athletes or like sports teams at the college level, uh, boards in preparation for governance or strategic planning, and community leadership cohorts. Now, what I know from this experience, both as an athlete and a professional, is that people rise when they have a plan. I'm a woman of faith, and one of my favorite verses is that one of my favorite sayings from the Bible is, "Without a vision, the people perish." And we are all capable. We're all talented. Sometimes we just need structure, direction, and a little bit of accountability to unlock our fullest potential. Now, goal setting has changed my life as a young athlete, and just the way I approach work and my life. Um, and today, it continues to guide the way I show up for my family, in my work, and in my community. And I believe these same principles can transform other organizations too. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to sharing the program materials with you.